We're gonna get going, because basketball's gotta go at 7, baseball 8:15. I think soccer had 7 o'clock, and I think everyone else is done. So, any soccer in here so far? No. So just for the room, we got women's basketball back there, right? Women's softball. These good-looking guys over here are baseball. And this is men's basketball front. So guys, if you don't know, I'm Coach Caggiano. I took over the head softball job this year. I used to do the assistant coach for softball and basketball last year. So what we're trying to do this year is we're kind of trying to bring in some people who could talk to you guys about some of your personal development as opposed to your sports. So this gentleman, his name is Andrew Mason. He was one of my AAU basketball players. I've known him since he was in 3rd grade. He's a graduate of Webster Thomas. He's an all-grade Rochester basketball player for 2 years. He went to Daeman on a basketball scholarship. He was the captain for all 4 years? 3 years. He led his team to the NCAA's each and every single year. He also has self-published a book. And he has kind of a different aspect of kind of how he sees life in a kind of a different manner. So I want him to come in and talk to you guys, instead of the coaching staff always telling you about, you gotta do schoolwork, you gotta do this, you gotta balance athletics and academics. Maybe we could hear from someone who's 23 years old, and I think he has a good story to tell. So he's gonna kind of go through it. I guess if you ask any questions, he has social, so go through all of that stuff. I appreciate you give him the respect that you would give to your coaching staff. All right, Drew. All right. Thanks, brother.
I really appreciate you guys being here. This is something I've never done before. I've never spoken in front of a crowd like this before, so I'm really excited about it. I'm generally a pretty introverted kid. I don't go out a lot. I have a small group of friends that I grew up in that I like to hang out with. But other than that, I just kind of keep to myself, and that's kind of where my brain is taking me to, me being vulnerable and me getting myself out there. But like Coach Caggiano said, I'm a local kid from Webster. Played varsity for 4 years, and then recently went to Daeman University with a scholarship to go there. And, as he mentioned, I just recently published a book as well, so we'll kind of go through those 4 stages of my life. And as I mentioned, this is the first time I've ever done something like this, so if I totally suck and it's horrible, we're going to all blame Coach Caggiano for inviting me to be here. No, I'm just kidding, but yeah, like, as he mentioned, him and I go way back, and that's kind of where I want to start. My 8th, 9th grade years of college, high school, is really where basketball kind of fit me. It totally consumed my life. We were traveling all around playing AAU. I was going to any local gym, any outdoor park, my parents' basement, just trying to find a way to get better at basketball. It's what I love to do, and it was my entire life. So my freshman year, I started getting some recognition. My coach asked me to play varsity, which was really special for me for a couple of reasons. First, because my brother was a senior at the time, so getting a chance to play with him was really cool for me. And also just being a freshman at varsity, walking around the halls, like, it was cool. Everyone was like, oh, that's the new kid in the school, but he's kind of making a statement for himself, and that made me feel special in a way. So to move along, preseason, I ended up falling on my wrist a couple times. It was bruised a little bit on the heel of my palm, and my arm started getting swollen a little bit, but wasn't anything too concerning. The pain wasn't too bad. But it lasted for a couple of weeks, so after talking about it with my parents, we decided to just get it checked out, make sure it wasn't anything too serious. I didn't want it to have any lasting effects on my playing career or anything like that. So we went to the doctor, got checked out. I don't remember if I got an x-ray or not. I don't think I did, but he was basically like, yeah, it's all good, it's just a bruise, nothing to be too concerned about. So that was great news for me. Went back to playing. Fast forward a little bit, had my first game in December when we were starting. And halfway through the game at halftime, we were playing a team called Henry Hudson. They're from New York City. And they were far and away better than us. Like, we had no business being in this game. It was a really ugly, nasty game. It was like 20-16 at halftime. It was just a horrible basketball game. And at halftime, the trainer comes in and she looks at me and she goes, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Get out of my face. What are you talking about? I'm trying to focus on this game. Like, what do you mean, am I okay?" So I didn't really think much of it, moved on. We end up, later in the game, it's like a 10-point game, and fourth quarter comes around, still like 8 to 10-point game. My brother ends up taking the charge on defense, and then goes down on offense, has an and-one, really big play, big momentum swing for us. And we go back and forth, and the last minute we're down, 5 or something. We make a couple of baskets. We're down 1. The other team's got the ball. We get stopped. Coach calls a timeout. We got to go the length of the floor. There's 9 seconds left on the clock. So he calls up the play. Our 4-man takes it out. CJ Battaglia, he takes it out. He throws it to half court to our 5-man, Tyler Curtis. He catches it, throws it to me. I'm on the wing. I'm open. I have a defender closing out on me. I pump fake. I drive to the basket, and I make the game-winning layup at the buzzer. To be a freshman on varsity and have this be my first game ever is like the most incredible experience. And the team rushed the floor. I'm celebrating with the guys. I'm hugging my brother. We're like basically in tears. There's a video of my grandpa. He's in the stands and he's pumping his arms. Like, it was just such an incredible moment. And in the locker room after the game, we celebrated for a little bit. Coach gives a speech. I was so proud of us. And like I said, it was a horrible game. I think we won like 43-42. It was just a nasty basketball. Horrible. But the trainer comes in and she says it again. She says, "Are you okay?" And I can hear the concern in her voice, like something seriously wrong. And I was like, "This is the best day of my life. Like, what are you talking about? Am I okay? I just made the game-winning basket." And she goes, "No, seriously, like, are you okay? I just talked with your parents. I'm really concerned about you. I think you may have a blood clot in your shoulder. You need to go to the hospital right now." And as a 14-year-old kid, my first thought was like, blood clot. That's something that an 80-year-old man has in his calves because he doesn't move enough, right? Like, that's not something a 14-year-old gets. So I end up not traveling back on the bus with the team. I don't get to celebrate with the guys anymore. I go straight to the hospital, I get the car with my parents, and they do an ultrasound on my shoulder. We're Googling everything we can, waiting for the doctor, trying to figure out what it might be. And the doctor comes in and he says, "You're all good. Nothing came back. We don't see anything. We can go back to playing basketball. No restrictions. We're not sure what's necessarily causing swelling in the arm, the discoloration. At this point, my arm is now turning purple anytime I did any type of exercise or any type of lifting over my head, anything that got my heart flowing, my arm would turn purple. But he was like, "We're not sure what's causing that. We don't think it's anything too serious. The ultrasound came out negative, so we're good to go back and keep playing." So I'm like, "All right, well, this is really inconvenient, but good news, right?" So the game was on Saturday. Sunday we were off. Monday, go back to school, and I'm just getting a lot of love, right? And my brother being a senior, I was friends with all of his friends, so everyone's coming up to me, congrats, like that was so amazing, such an inspiring thing for such a young kid to be able to do that. And I'm sitting in social studies class, and the teacher gets a call. Like when you're in high school and the teacher gets a call and they look right at you, and usually you're excited because you're like, "Yes, I get to get out of class." But this time I just had that hit in my stomach, something wasn't right. And he looks at me and he says, "Andrew, pack up your things. I don't think you'll be coming back today. Your dad's waiting for you outside." I'm like, okay, that's a little weird because I didn't have anything scheduled that day. I didn't have a dentist or a doctor or anything like that. So I'm like, why would he be picking me up, right? So I walk outside and I see my dad in the car, and that feeling in my stomach just grows, like something serious in my right. Like this isn't good. So I get in the car and my dad breaks the news to me. He says they took another look at your ultrasound and you do actually have a blood clot. And I'm like, okay. So in the course of 48 hours, I go from having the best day of my life to not the worst. And we went home quick, I packed some stuff up, we went right to the hospital where I had to have a procedure done. The official title of my injury is thoracic outlet syndrome, so it's a pretty rare condition. I had a vein pinched between my pectoral muscle and my first rib, and that's what was causing the blood to, it wasn't flowing in my arm, and that's what was causing the swelling. And they were really concerned about it because the location of the clot was so close to my heart that if for some reason it moved and it started restricting blood flow to my heart, that could obviously be fatal, and that's really serious. So we go to the hospital, they try and go in orthoscopically. They go in through my arm, right here, and they basically use this dye to try and blow up the clot. And it doesn't work, so now we have to schedule a surgery, January 5th, 2017, and they go in and they take out my first rib. And they go in and take it out to free up the vein so that it can allow the blood to be flowing throughout my arm. Surgery was successful, but the point that I'm getting at here is I was in the PQ of the hospital because I wasn't old enough to be in like the adult section, so a lot of the kids that I was with in the hospital were young kids, like really young, I'm talking 2 or 3 years old, and a lot of them had really serious problems, like cancer, neurodegenerative diseases, heart problems, and there was this one kid I'll never forget. He was riding around on a little 4-wheeler, his mom was pushing him, he had all these different cords and cables connected to him, and he had this huge scar down the middle of his chest, so I'm assuming it was some sort of heart problem. And he always had a smile on his face, he had a cowboy hat on, and he would just say, "Where's the big guy? Where's the big guy?" Like he was looking for me because I was such an outlier there, and my aunt always jokes about how I was the healthiest sick kid in there. And at the time, I didn't realize it because I was so naive and so ignorant, and I was playing the victim, like, how is this happening to me? This was supposed to be my year, like, I had such an incredible start. I wanted to have a season to be able to play with my older brother. That was supposed to be a special memory for me. And now my season was over. I wasn't even sure if I was going to be able to play AAU that year. So I was really down on myself. I was playing the victim. At the time, I didn't realize it, but looking back on it, seeing this little boy and the joy on his face, even though he was dealing with so much more than I ever could imagine, it just planted that seed of like, there's always someone else out there in the world that's dealing with something greater than your problems. Always. I don't care what you're going through. There's someone else out there that will trade places with you in a heartbeat. And this was the first time that I felt that, and subconsciously. Like I said, I was only 14 at the time, so I wasn't able to process that. But this kind of leads me into my second point, and there's 3 points that I want to talk about, with that one being the first. The second one comes when I was a sophomore in college. My freshman year was the COVID year, 2020, 2021, so we weren't even sure if we were going to have a season that year. We were getting tested 3 times a week. We were practicing with masks on. I'm sure you guys all experienced it. It was a really tough time, but we ended up having a season. We were really successful. We made it to the Elite Eight that year. And because of COVID, guys had the option to opt out if they wanted to. So people that would have played in front of me, upperclassmen, they decided to opt out. So I came in and proved myself. And I started every game that year and kind of made a name for myself to my coach and solidified myself as a starter and someone that could contribute to winning. So we went to the Elite Eight, lost in the Elite Eight, and the next year we had everybody back because of that COVID year. So our seniors that would have graduated, they ended up getting a year back. And so we had a lot of hype around our team. Our best player was an All-American, scored a shit ton of points, and he was getting a lot of news attention about him playing overseas or possibly even getting a chance to play in the G League. So we had a lot of hype my sophomore year, and about halfway through the season, we're not having the year we want. We've lost to some teams that we shouldn't have. We beat some good teams, but we lost to some teams that hurt us, and we knew that the second half of the year was going to be really big for us to be able to try and make the NCAA tournament. and make the run that we had the year prior. So we're playing the Uville. We're playing at Uville, and it's a rivalry game. I wouldn't really call it a rivalry because they never beat us, but they like to think that it's a rivalry because we're close to each other. We're playing at the Uville. It's a sold-out crowd. Their gym is really small, so it gets loud in there. And my adrenaline's pumping. I'm feeling good. And warm-ups, I go up to try and dunk. Notice how I said try because I'm not an athlete at all. That was not my game, but I was feeling good that day. And I feel a pinch in my foot. And like I said, adrenaline was pumping, so I don't think much of it. I ended up playing the game, and we won, or we killed them. And the next day, I go to shoot with one of my buddies, and my foot's killing me. Like, I could run on it, which was weird, but I couldn't cut off of it, and I couldn't jump off of it. So I'm like, listen, I'll do spot shooting, but I can't do anything on the move right now. My foot's killing me. So that was on Sunday. Monday we had practice, and same thing. I couldn't, like I could run, but anytime I went to plant or cut, it just killed me. So I went and saw the trainer. The trainer, he did some different tests on my metatarsal, the bones in my foot, to see if there was any cracking or any, just anything that he noticed. And he said, no, it seems like it's just a sprain. It's not anything too serious. As long as you can tolerate the pain, you're good to keep playing. So that's, in my head, that's all I needed to hear, is as long as you can tolerate the pain, you can keep playing, because somehow, somewhere, I was able to just block out the pain and keep going. So a couple weeks go by, he checks in, he says, how's it feeling? And I'm like, well, it hasn't gotten any better, but it hasn't gotten any worse. So he's like, yeah, I mean, if it's a sprain, then obviously if you're not resting, it's not going to get better. So he puts me in a boot. So I'm wearing a boot 24/7. And the only time I take it off is when I practice or play. It's like the most contradictory thing ever, because it's like, you know, they can wear a boot, but then I'm still allowed to play. So, but anyways, it's still not getting better. So he says, all right, let's make sure it's not, you don't have anything broken. Let's go get an X-ray. Make sure. I'm like, all right, that's fair. So we get the X-ray, comes back, it's negative. But you're good to go. Trainer Jeff, he's like, as long as you can tolerate the pain, you can keep playing. So now it's been about a month and a half, and same thing. It hasn't got better, it hasn't got worse. At this point, we lost to some more teams that we shouldn't have, so we really needed to finish the end of the season on a high note in order to try and make the NCAA tournament and to try and keep winning games. So I felt like I had a duty to the team to be available. I didn't want to sit out because my foot was bothering me, right? So I didn't talk about the pain a lot. I kept it to myself, and finally Jeff asked me again and said, how's your foot? And I said, it's the same. Like, it hasn't got better, it hasn't got worse. So he's like, all right, we need to get an MRI. It's been a month and a half, 2 months, and I haven't seen any improvement. And I'm like, all right, it's not what I want to do, but I guess we should probably should. So I get the MRI. A few days later, I'm walking to breakfast before my accounting class. I have accounting class at 8 a.m. And I get a call from 716 number that I don't have saved in my phone. And that same feeling that I had when I saw my dad when I was leaving high school when I was a freshman, same feeling I get in my chest and my stomach. I answer the phone, and it's our team doctor. He says, is this Andrew? And I say, yes. He says, we're going to have to shut you down for the rest of the season. You have a stress fracture in your foot, and we can't let you keep playing on. And I'm like, seriously, I've been playing on this for the past 2 months, and we are preparing to go down to New York City to play in the conference semifinals, and then hopefully if we win Saturday, we play Sunday in the conference finals. I'm like, if we lose either of those games, our season's over, right? We're not making the NCAA tournament because of the teams that we lost to previously in the season. I'm like, you can't just let me rock out these last couple games. Like, I've been playing on it for 2 months. I'm pretty sure that 1 or 2 more games is, like, it's gonna be fine. He's like, no, I'm sorry. It's because it's broken. We can't let you play it. It's just, that's kind of the rules. And this absolutely crushed me. Basketball, my entire life was my outlet. I was very one-dimensional, very tunnel vision on basketball. Anytime I had a bad day, I would just go play basketball. It didn't matter what else was going on in my life. I didn't care about girls. I didn't care about anything else. It was all basketball. And when this was taken from me, I ended up having to have surgery. I couldn't walk for 2 months. It took about 5 months to fully heal. So in the 2 months that I was at school still, I had a scooter. I was scooting around campus. And I just kind of spiraled downhill. I was drinking too much. I was not taking care of my body. I wasn't sleeping. I was eating like shit. And it was hard for me. It was hard mentally. Like I said, basketball was my life. And now that outlet had been taken from me, I didn't know what to turn to. And I don't remember what it was that clicked, but one day I just decided that I couldn't live like that anymore. I didn't want to live like that anymore. I was depressed, and it was taking a toll on me physically, but also mentally. Like I wasn't in a good spot. And I don't remember if my mom had told me to try writing, or if I saw something on Instagram, or what it was. But for some reason, I pulled out my notebook, and in the top left, I wrote things I can't do. So basically things I couldn't do because of my surgery. And so, I wrote on this, like, I can't play basketball, can't walk, I can't jump. I wrote down like 10, 15 things. And then I drew a line down, and to the right of it, I said things I can do. And the words just flowed out of the page, right? Like I could still laugh, I could smile, I could eat good food, I can listen to music, I can smell, I can have conversations, I can still see. And it just put things into perspective. Like, so often we take the little things in life for granted, and there's this quote that I love that really resonates with this scenario in my life. It says, I cursed the fact that I had no shoes until I saw the man that had no feet. Right, and it's just that putting things in a perspective of like, alright, yeah, this is really inconvenient, this isn't the life that I would have chosen for myself, but at the same time, there's still so much good in my life, and there's people around me that love me and that want to see me be successful. And it goes back to my original point of like, there's always someone that will trade places with you, right? So no matter what you're going through, you can always find good in the bad, for sure. And that leads me to my third point. And the most life-changing point for me, as far as my mindset and who I want to be as a person, how I want to affect other people and influence other people. January 14th, 2023. I'm playing Fortnite with my brothers. It's during the inter semester at school, so I'm on campus, but we don't have class because it's Christmas break, so I'm on campus for practice on games, and we're traveling and still playing and stuff, but we don't have any class, so I have some downtime, so I'm playing Fortnite with my older brother and my younger brother. And I get a call from my dad, and he's on the line, and he goes, can you add your brothers to this call? And I'm like, they can hear him on the mic, right? Like, cause we're playing Fortnite, and oh my god, he's good with technology, but some things he's not great. So I add my brothers to the call, and right when they both get on and they say, hey, what's up? My dad just starts crying, like he can't keep it together, and then that same feeling that I've been talking about, feeling in my chest and my stomach, and he can't get the words out of his mouth, and like, what's going on? And I immediately think of something happened in my family, and unfortunately I was right. My cousin Christopher, 17 years old, he passed away. He went to sleep on the 18th, and the 19th he didn't wake up. His dad went into his room, he thought that he slept in, shaking him, trying to wake him up, and he was dead. And this news, when you get it, it's like how am I supposed to process this, right? It doesn't really make sense. Am I supposed to cry? Am I supposed to be angry? Do I punch a hole in the wall? Do I go give someone a hug? Like, I didn't know what to do, so I'm sitting on my bed. And at this point I'm crying. I can hear my brother's on the phone crying. We hang up the phone. And I call my girlfriend, I didn't know what else to do. I tell her, I can barely get the words out. I call my coach, I tell him the same thing. And he tells me, whatever you gotta do, go ahead, go ahead, take your time. So, the funeral was that Friday on the 19th, and it was the hardest thing I've ever gone through mentally. Just being there. Christopher went to a private school, and he has a young brother who's a senior in high school now, but at the time was 16, I think. And so we go to the funeral. Obviously, I'm direct family, so they push us to the front. And when we get there, Christopher went to a private school, and Ryan, his younger brother, went to a private school, and both of those schools closed down the school on the day of the funeral, and they bused kids to the funeral. So by the time I got there, and it's the middle of January, it's snowing outside, right? And there are thousands of kids standing outside, just crying, uncontrollably. So obviously, I'm like I said, I'm direct family. This is my mom's sister's son. So I'm a pallbearer in the funeral. So we get up to the front. The priest says, take your time, whatever you guys need. I'm here for you. So we got my hand on the casket, walk down the aisle to the front of the church. And same thing, you look to your left and just hundreds of people I've never even seen before, people that are heartbroken that this happened. And same thing, you look to the right and people are just crying uncontrollably. And I think it speaks to the type of kid Christopher was, just always having a smile on his face and leaving a positive impact on other people. But it also just didn't seem fair to me. Like Christopher being a 17-year-old kid, he had so much life to live, right? He was supposed to get married, he was supposed to go to college, he was supposed to go to his senior ball or prom or whatever, and all of those things were taken from him, and it just, when you think about it, it doesn't seem fair. Like where is the meaning in this? How is there any type of purpose in this? And I fought with that idea a lot. I didn't want to accept it. I know that if there was something myself or any of my family members could do to bring him back, we would. Unfortunately, that's not how life works. And yeah, I really fought with this. It was really hard for me, especially hard for his parents. His little brother, being 15 at the time, like, how do you find purpose in anything? How do you even keep going on, right? Like, everything in life when something like this happens. And I listened to a podcast, I don't remember whose it was, but it was a podcast on grief. And the one guy that was the host of the podcast, he mentioned how when he was 10 years old, his dad passed away in a crazy elevator incident, and his brother shortly after passed away in a plane crash. So at a young age, he dealt with a lot of grief and he suppressed it. So as he got older, the only thing that dragged him out of that hole was when he became grateful for the thing that he most wished had not happened for him. And when he said this, I didn't want to believe it. I didn't want to accept that. I didn't want to think that was possible. Right? How could I be grateful that my 17-year-old cousin went to sleep one night and didn't wake up? How could I be grateful for that? That makes no sense. And I fought with it. It took me a while. I meditated on it. I reflected on it. And finally it clicked. Like, life is so short. And as I mentioned earlier about how it's really hard to get yourself out of that hole that you put yourself in. And as I mentioned before, there's nothing that we could do to bring him back. So for me, it was finding purpose in not being afraid to take risks anymore, not being afraid to put myself out there, not being afraid to write a book and be vulnerable, not being afraid to stand up here in front of you guys and do something I've never done before, to share my story, to hopefully maybe inspire one of you guys if you're going through something. And it just shifted my perspective. Like, I think I'll always care what other people think, and that limited me from putting my writing out there, because I had been writing ever since I broke my foot, but I didn't start putting it out for maybe 2 or 3 years, right? Like I just kept it to myself, even though I felt like I wanted to. And unfortunately, Christopher passing away, it nudged me to be like, do I really care what other people think of me? Right? Being an athlete and being a writer, those things, they don't necessarily build up, right? You don't see that a lot. And I was worried that the people on the team were going to judge me. I was worried that my coaches were going to judge me. I was worried that other athletes on campus would judge me. But when it comes down to it, like, it's just, I felt like I had a message to share with the world, and I felt like there were people out there that wanted to hear my message. So why not just put it out there, right? Even if there's 10 people that resonate with it, like, that's 10 more lives that are improving because of me. And that's not me trying to be selfish, that's just me trying to leave a positive impact on other people. And yeah, so I like Coach said, I wrote a book, I published it. This is the first speaking of hopefully many. I started a website, I have a blog. Actually, my first post went live today, so you guys can check that out. It's called Life's Too Short. You can see it on my website, andrewjmason.me. And I got a couple quotes here that I'll leave you with. I don't want to take up too much of your time, and then if you guys have questions, we can definitely do that. So I started this series on TikTok. It's called Notebook Knowledge. This notebook I bought the middle of last year, and it comes with me just about everywhere I go. Anytime I listen to a podcast and hear something insightful, or anytime I read something that I really like, or anytime I just am out for a walk and think of something that holds meaning to me, I will just write it down in here, and then it gives me a chance to reflect on it and just bring my values to fruition and bring them to the world. So I started a series on TikTok where I share a quote every single day, and you guys could obviously check that out too if you want. It's pretty small. There's not much traction on there. I get like 12 likes. I have like 200 views, but it's meaningful to me, and I think that that's what matters the most. So I have a couple quotes, and then one question I want to share with you guys, and then if you guys have questions for me, or if you want to just get out of here, that's totally fine, up to you. The first one, I just heard this on Instagram, I think. It says, someone less qualified than you is living the life you want only because they acted. And that goes back to the point that I made in this little speech here. It's like, you holding back your dreams and what you want to put out in the world, it's not affecting anyone else, because obviously you're just keeping it internally. So they don't know what is inside of you, right? Nobody knows what's inside of you, only you do. So that's only going to eat at you if you don't put it out into the world. And I think that people are going to judge you if you do something, and people are going to judge you if you don't, right? If people think you're lazy and you do nothing all day, they're going to judge you for it. Or if people think you're posting videos on TikTok to try and inspire people, they're going to call you corny, right? So either way, you're going to get judged. It's just up to you if you're living true to your values or not. And that's why I really like that quote. The second thing, or the second quote I have, it says, if something is important, it deserves to be experienced. Or sorry, if something is important, it deserves to be experienced deeply, and everything is important. And to me, this is trying to enjoy the little things more, right? So often we look to life and we want every moment to be life-changing, we want every moment to have this huge purpose and huge value, when in reality 95% of our experiences are small ones. And the more meaning we can find in the small ones, I think the more fruitful life can be, and the happier we can be, and the more meaning we can find in life. So. And then the question that I think is worth reflecting on, it says, I listened to a podcast with Jay Shetty and Lily Singh. Jay is like my biggest inspiration. He was a monk for 3 years, and he goes around and he speaks, and he has a podcast that has millions and millions of subscribers, and he wrote a New York Times bestselling book. He's an incredible person. And they were talking about how in life, the things that we celebrate are usually for one night, right? Think about your birthday. You celebrate your birthday for one night and then you move on. But say something negative happens, like in my case, you break your foot, you have to have surgery. I ruminated on that for months. Right? The negative, we tend to focus on more so than the positive. And this quote says, when was the last time you were proud of yourself? And if I asked you the last time you were upset with yourself, you'd probably be able to think of that in a minute or two, right? You're like, at practice today I turned it over, or at practice today I had an error, or whatever it may be. But when you flip it and you say, when was the last time you were proud of yourself, now you have to take a second to think, right? You're like, I don't know. When was the last time I was proud of myself? Right? Because we just don't think like that. And I think if we can try and rewire our brains to focus more on the positive and all the good that's in our lives, because the fact that you guys are in college right now, you're a small percentage of people, right? I don't care that it's a community college or that it's close to maybe your hometown, or like, it doesn't matter. You're part of a small percentage for being there. And you need to take advantage of that, right? College is something that so many people would give anything to be a part of. And you guys are here right now, and you're an athlete, on top of being here. Right? That's special. And that's something that you guys should take advantage of. That's really cool. And that's up to you, though. Right? That's up to you. Do you go to class? Do you get your homework in on time? Do you show up to practice late? Are you being respectful to your coach? Are you being respectful to your professors and your teachers? And it's hard, I get it, because a lot of this stuff is not taught in school. Right? A lot of the stuff I talked about is not. And that's why I would encourage you guys to all read books. Books change my life. If I didn't read books, I don't know where I would be. Not here, that's for sure. Books totally transformed my life. So, yeah, that's all I got for you guys. Like I said, I really appreciate you being here. This is really special to me. To have your attention and to be in front of you guys is really cool. So, I have some books here. I was going to try and sell them to you guys, but honestly, there's 10 here. If anybody's interested in one, I really love that. So, appreciate you guys.
One, I didn't know you only had 20 people, so I'm one of the 20 people or whatever he said on his website, or whatever, the Instagram, I'm one of them. Okay. As a coach, what you try to do is you try to go out and try to affect young people like yourselves, and you think that, like, you know, sometimes we have all the answers. I go to his site, not only because he's one of my guys, so I'm like one of the people, once you're one of my guys, you're one of my guys forever, and he's one of my guys, so he's one of my guys forever. But I go there every day and look at it sometime, and it takes like a minute. And it's weird as a 60-year-old man that thinks I'm having an effect on young people. Here's a 23-year-old kid that has an effect on me, right? And it only takes
60 seconds of my day to just go to his website, pop it, right? And I look at it. And we're all that kind of person, right? We want it quick. That's the first thing. The second thing is, I'm also one of the crazy people. I bought the book, and I've passed it around to my softball group. And I'm going to tell you this: from a 23-year-old, that book will move you to emotion. It's 90 pages. It's a real easy read. You could read it in an hour and a half. It's on Amazon. I'm going to try to stump for my guy, right? Go to Amazon. It's only like $9.99. Right? Go on there, pull one. Baseball, you know, you get a couple. Pass to you guys. It takes like a little over an hour to read that book. And I'm telling you, it brought me to emotion. And I wish I had more copies because some of the quotes that he talks about is in that book. And I think they would do is they're pertinent for life. And I'm big at a quote. I'm a quote guy because I just don't have the time to like get into details. But one quote that could have an effect on me, and I keep those things. I'm a business guy. I'm not a teacher. I'm not a phys ed person. And I have assembled throughout the course of my life all of these quotes. And I started to take some of his, and I've started putting it into my arsenal and rewrite some of the stuff I do every single day. So I would encourage you to maybe go sign up. I don't know, we got about 50 people, 60 people here. Bump him up to 80 people on his Instagram. That'd be great. But really, take the book. If he's gonna give them out, that's great. Pass it around to your friends. Take a highlighter, highlight some of the stuff, and I think you'd be taught. You would move to emotion. But I can tell you, at the end of the book, I had a tear in my eye. I really did. And I asked him questions about it today to see if one of the characters in this book was a real person. And he told me it was kind of him as an adult. The way he actually got his, I would call it enlightenment, and the other characters did young. And it kind of taught me a little lesson. So it showed it. I know a guy like me and coaching for a long time, I learned something from someone who's 22. And hopefully you got something out of it. And if it just affects one group or one time, that's all we're trying to do. So I appreciate it. Appreciate your time, guys. He's gonna hang around a while if you ever want to ask him. I'm telling you, for the basketball guys, he's a good resource for basketball. Kind of talk to him about some of the stuff he's done. Appreciate it.